So this is where we left off in our last video. The surface of the top sides looked horrible, so we decided to sand them back as best we could and reapply new top coat paint. This is the paint we used. It's a paint by Ep.17, and we checked before applying with the stockist that this paint was compatible to go on top of the previous paint, which was from a different manufacturer. They says that there should be no problem, so we went ahead and did it. The reason we actually changed paints was because of a supply issue with the previous paint we had used, but this paint was actually very good, as in it was easy to mix, as it came in two separate jars and you just mixed them together, and also that it was suitable to roll only. You didn't have to roll and tip like the other paint.
So does it say 10 or 15 minutes for induction time?
That means just to let it sit.
Yeah.
So as you can see, it's actually a darker grey that went on the boat, and we were happy enough with that because it still looked pretty good. You can see that the paint has restored the shine that we lost, the glossiness. However, looking at the top sides close up and feeling the hull, there were still lumps and bumps that we weren't able to get rid of with the sanding, but it'll do for now. Besides, Kelly seemed very happy with the result. With the top sides painted, we marked out the waterline. We used the laser to mark out certain spots of the waterline and then joined the dots with some masking tape. However, we couldn't start painting below the waterline until we had done some repairs. This one on the rudder was an old repair and the glass had started delaminating. Here I used an 80 grit flap disc to grind away the old repair. So to do this repair, I'm going to use epoxy with some 402 milled glass fibre blend from West Systems, and the technique I seen on a YouTube channel where they did a hull repair using the same technique, and it's basically mixing up some epoxy, thickening it with the milled glass fibre and applying it on the area, and then wrapping peel ply around it to hold it in place. And when it cures and the peel ply comes off, then you've got a strong repair. Wow,
Awesome.
I'm impressed.
I'm impressed. Flawless.
Oh.
Feel good?
Yeah, it does feel really good.
You're
Smooth and sealed, and
genius.
so I'll probably just put a wee bit of fern over it, just to, there's a wee bit of a
In.
indent there. But I'm impressed. That was a simpler than I thought it was going to be. Actually could do with a wee bit more there. This is another bit of damage that I discovered once I had used the sandblaster. It took off the layer of gel coat down to the glass. So I'm going to open that up a bit with a sander, clean it out, and then lay up some new glass. And just give it a clean with acetone. So, just a little bit of unthickened epoxy. Got some shrapnel. So here, I'm just wetting out the chapstraw matting with unthickened epoxy. If you have seen my video on the coach roof repair, you see that epoxy takes quite a long time to soak into chapstraw matting. Chapstraw matting, glass mat, chapstraw matting, glass mat. And in case anybody's wondering why I'm using glass chapstraw matting and then glass mat on top of that, it's a repair method that I seen in Don Casey's book called This Old Boat. After laying up the layers of glass, I just used this fin roller to try and work out any bubbles under the surface, and then covered with a layer of peel ply, and that was left to dry. Perfect. Okay, let's see how this turned out.
Looking good?
Looking good.
So with the fairing compound of the rudder and the hull repairs sanded fair, we were ready for painting.
Beautiful.
We were both keen to make a start on getting the paint done below the waterline. So while I finished touching up a few areas of marking the waterline, Kelly cracked on with applying some Primacon underwater primer to the hull.
Any better, to be honest?
Maybe just the type of the paint. So we've managed to get the top sides painted, the waterline marked, and the bottom has its barrier coat on. So we're just going to apply our anti-foul and then that's the bottom done.
Is it like sticky residue?
Yeah. How's it looking?
Good.
Yes.
Got too excited.
Yes.
Yeah, baby. Excited?
For anyone that's a professional boat painter or a perfectionist, I know this in no way was a professional job or a perfect job.
Yeah, baby.
Me and Kelly had never done anything like this before. We could have spent a lot more time trying to make it perfect, but due to COVID, the sailing season was almost over, so we thought if we wanted to salvage anything this season, we would do our best, hope for the best, and whatever would be, would be. And any repairs or touch-ups or improvements, we'll make it next season. We didn't want to spend any more time sitting in the boatyard while the season was passing away. We wanted to get out and sail.
Happy chappy?
One other little thing we did, but forgot to film, was add a white line across
big
the top
reveal.
of the boat here. And that was just break up the grey tone and add a bit of contrast. And we think it turned out pretty well. What do you think? Enjoying the view, I can't see it.
Just drop it.
So with all the painting done, this is how it was looking. Let us know in the comments what you think of the repairs that we've done and what you think of the paint job and the paint colour scheme. Be nice to have your opinions. So with all the painting done then, all that was left to do is get the mast up. So me and Kelly were able to get the mast down, just the two of us, on our own, with using this A-frame. So we thought we'll be able to do that again, but I'm glad we did even try it. I had mentioned to some of the guys in the boat club that I was going to be putting the mast up, and thankfully a crowd of them offered to help, and we really couldn't have done it without them. As you'll see as the video goes on here, it was so much easier to take down than it was to put up. You really needed at least 4 or 5 people at different parts of the boat holding lines and moving lines to get the mast up. It was a real coordinated effort, and I couldn't have done it without the help of the guys from the Down Cruising Club. So unfortunately I failed in recording the mast coming down using the A-frame method. So the A-frame is secured onto the boat by 2 lines running forward and 2 lines running aft, and the feet of the A-frame are secured with, it's tied on to the chain plates for the shrouds. We have a pulley at the apex of the A-frame and a line just out of shot there. There's a couple of guys just pulling the free end of the line, and that goes up through the pulley down onto the mast. And I have it set actually at the just below the radar reflector there, which was the wrong place to put it because it was too high to actually lift the mast up straight. And you'll see this in a second where I had to hold the top of the mast while Trevor readjusted the line to fit around the spreaders. So this is take one, putting the mast up with the rope tied around the radar reflector. The guys are pulling it up with the pulley, and I'm at the base of the mast there, and my job is to try and manoeuvre the base of the mast forward and get it onto the mast step. But we can only go so far. As you can see, the mast can't go any higher on the A-frame. And like I say, that was because we had the rope set too high up around the radar reflector. We needed to then readjust the rope and bring it a bit lower around the spreaders, and that would allow us to lift the mast a bit higher and then get the mast step into place. But as you can see here, we're struggling, and that was my fault.
Right, drop her down again. You're not going to do that, that's not going in there. You need to bring that rope down a bit, down the cross street.
So we lowered the mast back down to readjust the line. I made myself useful by holding up the top of the mast, and Trevor was able to adjust the line from around the radar reflector to below the spreaders, and then we tried again.
Now wait and see here, now what's going up here with? What's that there? Right, that's okay. It does, looks okay. Yep, nothing's caught anywhere.
Right, nice easy. You okay for walking forward?
Yeah, go ahead.
Now you walk around the deck now. You chop it there.
Can you guys actually grab it and get a wee lift up at the same time?
Things here sort of down there.
Okay, what about the wire?
Wire go down. Aye. Good, I take that.
Slack it off when you touch, sir. Up a wee bit, up a wee bit.
What's that wee bit? Come up a wee bit. Go do it. Okay.
Now, let's get her held up there somehow. There's oh here, pins land here. Right, let it come forward. Somebody hold, take it back stay or something like that. Robbie.
Can you come forward a wee bit yet?
No, I'll get it here in a few seconds.
So Trevor and David hooked up the forestay. I went aft and hooked up the backstay. Fergie did a great job keeping the mast centered so we could hook up these lines, and then we would get our shrouds hooked up as well.
Aye. Hold on.
So after all the standing rigging had been hooked back up, it was time to drop the A-frame, and this job was done. Well folks, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for taking the time to watch it. If you liked it, or you got any benefit from it, please give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate that. Also, consider subscribing if you haven't already. I appreciate that too. I'd just like to say another special thanks to Kelly, who's persevered helping me get the boat ready. I'd also like to say a big thank you to Trevor and Fergie, and all the rest of the guys at the Down Cruising Club that were a great help getting the mast up and other bits and bobs with the boat. So thanks very much, guys. Join us next time on Little Boat Adventures when we get our boom and standing rigging sorted, test the engine, and then finally launch the boat.